Ray Caruth. Ray Caruth's NFL career was obliterated by a scandal that remains one of the most shocking in league history. In January 2001, the NFL suspended him indefinitely without pay, following his conviction for conspiracy to commit murder. Before this, Caruth, a promising wide receiver drafted 27th overall by the Panthers in 1997, had shown flashes of potential. In his rookie year, he caught 44 passes for 545 yards, but his career trajectory was already shaky due to off-field issues and injuries. In 2001, Caruth hired a hitman to shoot his pregnant girlfriend, Cherika Adams, in a drive-by attack in Charlotte. Adams unfortunately died after a month in a coma, though her son, Chancellor, survived. Caruth fled, but eventually was caught. When the verdict hit, he was found guilty on charges of conspiracy to commit murder, discharging a firearm, and attempting to unalive an unborn child. The public reaction was visceral. Fans and media looked at Caruth as a monster, and the NFL distanced itself immediately. The Panthers, who had already released him in 1999 pending the trial, supported the league's ban. Caruth's life after the ban was a freefall. Sentenced to 18 to 24 years, he served nearly 18 years in prison. Released in October 2018 at age 44. The financial hit was catastrophic as he lost millions in potential earnings, with his NFL career capped at 3 seasons and $1.3 million in salary. Post-release, Caruth expressed remorse in interviews, claiming he wanted to build a relationship with his son, Chancellor, who suffers from cerebral palsy due to the attack. But public sentiment remained unforgiving as many saw his apologies as too little, too late. Since his release, Caruth has kept a low profile, reportedly living in Pennsylvania. At 51, any chance of an NFL comeback is non-existent. Merle Hapes. In December 1946, the league banned Merle Hapes indefinitely for failing to report a bribe attempt tied to the NFL championship game. This was a lifetime exile from the NFL, effectively ending his career at the age of 27. Hapes was drafted in 1941, and he played 2 seasons for the New York Giants, before military service in World War II interrupted his career. Returning in 1946, he had 272 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns while catching 11 passes in 10 games. This is when things went wrong, as a gambler offered Hapes a handsome bribe to throw the title game against the Chicago Bears. Hapes later admitted to the offer but swore he didn't take the money. The NFL, under Commissioner Bert Bell, didn't care about the nuances and banned him for life. Post-football, Hapes returned to California, working blue-collar jobs and coaching high school football briefly. He never regained the spotlight, living quietly until his death in 1994 at age 75. Vontaze Burfict. In September 2019, the NFL handed down a season-long suspension, the longest ever for on-field conduct, after Vontaze Burfict delivered a vicious helmet-to-helmet hit on Indianapolis Colts tight end Jack Doyle. This isn't his first act of aggression either. He had gotten a $10,000 fine for striking an opponent in the groin in 2013, $25,000 for twisting Cam Newton's ankle in 2014, and a brutal hit on Le'Veon Bell in 2015 that tore Bell's MCL. The low point came in the 2016 playoffs as a helmet-to-helmet shot on Antonio Brown that concussed the Steelers star, drew a 15-yard penalty, and cost Cincinnati the game. That earned him a 3-game ban. By 2019, he'd racked up 22 games suspended across 14 incidents, over $5.3 million in fines and forfeited pay, and a reputation as the NFL's dirtiest player. IK Enemkpali. In September 2015, the NFL suspended IK Enemkpali for 4 games for violating the league's personal conduct policy after punching and breaking the jaw of New York Jets quarterback Geno Smith. This incident, combined with a subsequent season-ending injury, effectively derailed his career at age 24. Enemkpali was originally drafted as a defensive end in the 6th round by the Jets in 2014. He was fresh out of Louisiana Tech, where he had recorded 64 tackles and 14 sacks in his senior year. In his rookie season, Enemkpali played 6 games, logging 3 tackles and 2 pass defenses. He was known for his tough physicality, and despite showing potential, he struggled with off-field issues. In August 2015, a locker room dispute over a $600 debt led to Enemkpali punching Smith, resulting in his immediate release from the Jets. The Buffalo Bills claimed him the next day, but the NFL went forward with a suspension. That season, he played 11 games for the Bills, recording 13 tackles. However, a torn ACL in the 2016 preseason ended his season as well as his NFL career. Enemkpali is now 33 and has stayed out of the spotlight, reportedly working in real estate in Texas. Michael Vick. In April 2007, authorities raided a Virginia property owned by NFL star Michael Vick and discovered evidence of a large-scale dogfighting operation called Bad News Kennels. By August, Vick pleaded guilty to federal conspiracy charges, which included a brutal operation involving illegal gambling and the horrific abuse of pit bulls. The NFL suspended him indefinitely without pay, and the Atlanta Falcons, where he'd been a star quarterback, also cut ties. At 27, Vick was out of the league, facing prison and a shattered reputation. Vick had been a phenomenon. Drafted first overall in 2001, he redefined the quarterback position with his incredible speed and arm strength. By 2006, he'd made 3 Pro Bowls, racked up 11,505 passing yards, 3,550 rushing yards, and 88 total touchdowns. Off the field, he was a cultural icon with a $130 million contract. But the details of the dogfighting incidents were revealed in court, and they included the killing of underperforming dogs by drowning, electrocution, or slamming them to the ground, and the fans were enraged. Vick would then serve 21 months in prison, filed for bankruptcy, and lost $70 to $100 million in potential earnings. However, he returned to the field in 2009, becoming a starter in 2010 and earning Comeback Player of the Year honors. But the stigma lingered as protests followed him, and some fans never forgave him. Vick played until 2015, bouncing between the Eagles, Jets, and Steelers, finishing with 22,464 passing yards and 6,109 rushing yards. At 35, he retired, unable to land another contract. After retiring, Vick rebuilt his life. He became an animal rights advocate, working with the Humane Society and lobbying for anti-dogfighting laws. He coached briefly in the Alliance of American Football and now analyzes games for Fox Sports. Darren Waller, drafted by the Baltimore Ravens in the 6th round of the 2015 NFL Draft, Waller came into the league with impressive physical attributes but struggled with substance abuse. In 2016, he was suspended for 4 games, and a year later he received a full season suspension after failing another drug test. At his lowest point, Waller overdosed on opioids in his car, an incident that nearly took his life. Waller entered rehab in 2017 and spent over a year away from football. Clean and committed to recovery, he worked at a grocery store while rebuilding his life. The Raiders gave him a second chance, signing him off the Ravens practice squad in late 2018. In 2019, he broke out with 90 receptions for 1,145 yards and 3 touchdowns, making him an important force in the Raiders' offense. In 2020, he followed up with an even stronger season, 107 receptions, 1,196 yards, and 9 touchdowns, earning Pro Bowl honors. Waller became an outspoken advocate for mental health and addiction recovery, launching the Darren Waller Foundation to help youth avoid the struggles he faced. Ray Rice. In February 2014, Ray Rice was caught on camera dragging his unconscious fiancée, Janae Palmer, out of an elevator. The situation got worse when another clip showed Rice viciously punching and knocking Palmer out inside the elevator. The Baltimore Ravens, where Rice had been a premier running back, terminated his contract within hours. Prior to this, Rice had been an explosive offensive weapon for the Ravens. He was a 3-time Pro Bowl selection and a 2-time second-team All-Pro, helping to lead the team to victory in Super Bowl 47 in 2013. But the graphic details of the assault horrified the public and fans. After a court hearing in November 2014, Rice was eligible to sign with another NFL team. However, no team offered him a contract, and his NFL career effectively ended after the 2013 season. Since his last NFL game, Ray Rice has largely remained out of the public eye. He married Janae Palmer in March 2014, shortly after the indictment. They have 2 children, and Rice has spoken about the counseling he and his wife have undertaken, and his desire to educate young men about domestic violence and the consequences of their actions. Plaxico Burress. In November 2008, the New York Giants wide receiver Plaxico Burress accidentally shot himself in the thigh with an unlicensed handgun at a Manhattan nightclub. The incident led to 2 years in prison, and the NFL suspended him for the remainder of the 2008 season, and the Giants released him in April 2009. Burress was drafted 8th overall by the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2000, and he became a reliable deep threat with 553 receptions, 8,499 yards, and 61 touchdowns by 2008. During Super Bowl 42, he caught the game-winning touchdown to upset the undefeated New England Patriots. But the fallout was costly for Burress. He lost his Giants contract, millions in endorsements, and roughly $20 to $30 million in potential earnings. Burress struggled emotionally post-NFL. He admitted to avoiding football games as the memories were too raw. The NFL's reinstatement process, while successful for him, required compliance with strict oversight, and not every team was willing to take the risk. After retiring, he coached briefly and worked in the media, but legal troubles persisted as he was hit with tax evasion charges in 2019 that led to probation. Calvin Ridley. In March 2022, the NFL suspended Calvin Ridley for betting on games during the 2021 season. The suspension, initially set for at least 1 year, sidelined him for the entire 2022 season and cost him his spot with the Atlanta Falcons. Ridley, a first-round pick by the Falcons in 2018, had been a rising star. His 2020 season was a breakout. 90 receptions, 1,374 yards, and 9 touchdowns, earning him second-team All-Pro honors. But 2021 was turbulent as he struggled with mental health and stepped away mid-season after playing only 5 games. During a brief leave in November 2021, he placed bets on NFL games, including Falcons contests, using a mobile betting app. The wagers, reportedly totaling $1,500, didn't involve inside information or game fixing, but it got him banned regardless. Post-suspension, Ridley redeemed himself, posting 76 catches, 1,016 yards, and 8 touchdowns in Jacksonville, proving he could still perform at an elite level. After signing a 4-year, $92 million deal with the Tennessee Titans in 2024, Ridley, now 30, is focused on rebuilding his legacy. He's spoken candidly about his mistake, calling it a stupid decision made during a dark period, and has worked to regain trust. Isaiah Rodgers Sr. Isaiah Rodgers Sr.'s NFL career came to an abrupt halt due to one of the most high-profile gambling scandals in recent league history. In June 2023, it was found that he had placed hundreds of bets, including wagers on his own team. Reports indicated Rodgers had used a sportsbook account in the name of an associate to place bets. When the NFL found out, they immediately issued an indefinite suspension through at least the end of the 2023 season, and the Colts waived him shortly after. The incident was costly for Rodgers. He lost his Colts contract, faced public scrutiny, and saw his professional future evaporate overnight. Luckily for him, Rodgers found a second chance. The Philadelphia Eagles signed him in August 2023, and he was reinstated by the NFL in April 2024. As of 2025, he remains with the Eagles, working to resurrect a career that was nearly destroyed by his reckless decision. DeAndre Hopkins. In May 2022, DeAndre Hopkins was slapped with a 6-game suspension for violating the league's performance-enhancing drug policy. Hopkins, drafted 27th overall by the Houston Texans in 2013, was an elite talent. He racked up 3 straight All-Pro seasons from 2017 to 2019, having 7,437 yards and 47 touchdowns in his first 7 years. Traded to Arizona in 2020, he continued dominating in his first Cardinals season. But in 2022, a positive test for a banned substance, which was later attributed by Hopkins to a contaminated supplement, got him suspended. His fans were divided. Some defended Hopkins, saying that he's a respected NFL player, while others questioned how a veteran could be so careless. Financially, the suspension cost Hopkins roughly $3.5 million in game checks from his $27.5 million 2022 salary, with potential long-term hits to endorsement deals estimated at $5 to $10 million. Hopkins returned in October 2022 and posted 64 catches for 717 yards in 9 games, proving he can still deliver. In 2024, at 32, he remained a top receiver with 75 catches for 1,013 yards. Deshaun Watson. In March 2021, over 20 women, many were massage therapists, accused Deshaun Watson, a Houston Texans quarterback, of sexual misconduct and assault during therapy sessions. By 2022, 26 lawsuits were filed, which got Watson suspended for 11 games and fined $5 million. The Texans traded him to the Cleveland Browns in March 2022, who signed him to a fully guaranteed $230 million contract despite the allegations. Watson was a prodigy and was drafted 12th overall in 2017 out of Clemson, where he won a national championship. By 2020, he led the NFL with 4,823 passing yards, throwing 33 touchdowns and earning 3 straight Pro Bowl nods. His dual-threat style with 12,395 passing yards, 2,159 rushing yards, and 97 total touchdowns by 2020 made him a superstar. But the allegations had solid evidence. Court filings detailed claims of Watson exposing himself, requesting inappropriate acts, or pressuring women during massages. Luckily for him, no criminal charges were filed, and the civil suits were settled confidentially. Financially, Watson lost $5.67 million in game checks from the suspension, but his guaranteed contract cushioned the blow compared to others like Michael Vick. Still, his reputation took a hit, with estimated endorsement losses of $10 to $20 million. Myles Garrett. In the final seconds of a game on November 14, 2019, Myles Garrett from Cleveland Browns tore off quarterback Mason Rudolph's helmet and threw it at Mason's head. The NFL immediately suspended Garrett indefinitely, making it the longest suspension for a single on-field act in league history at the time. His 2019 season ended, costing him 6 games and a $45,623 fine, while 32 other players were fined and 2 others suspended. During his appeal, Garrett claimed Rudolph used a racial slur. However, Rudolph denied, and the NFL found no evidence to support this claim. In February 2020, Garrett was reinstated. He signed a massive 5-year contract extension and earned 4 first-team All-Pro honors and 6 Pro Bowl selections. In 2023, he was named NFL Defensive Player of the Year and became the Browns' all-time sack leader. What a freaking comeback. Martavis Bryant. In December 2018, the NFL indefinitely suspended Martavis Bryant for violating the league's substance abuse policy, his 3rd such infraction since entering the league. The suspension, which sidelined him for the entire 2019 season and beyond, effectively leaving him without a team and a fractured reputation. Bryant, drafted in the 4th round by the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2014, was a unique talent with lots of potential. At 6 feet 4 inches with incredible speed, he caught 76 passes for 1,314 yards and 14 touchdowns in his first 2 seasons, including a memorable 2014 playoff performance. Traded to the Raiders in 2018 after a fallout with Pittsburgh, he showed flashes of brilliance but couldn't escape his off-field struggles. His first suspension came in 2015, a 4-game ban for marijuana use, followed by a full-season suspension in 2016 for multiple violations. The 2018 ban, reportedly tied to a failed drug test, was the final blow. As a result of this, Bryant lost his $1.2 million 2018 salary and potential contracts worth $15 to $25 million. Nearly 5 years later, Bryant was reinstated in November 2023, and he signed with the Dallas Cowboys practice squad, appearing in 1 game with no stats. Dimitri Patterson. Dimitri Patterson was having a great career, bouncing between 7 teams including the Chiefs, Eagles, Browns, Dolphins, and Jets, when an unusual incident happened. On August 25, 2014, Dimitri was absent for 48 hours from the team's training camp without an explanation. The New York Jets decided to indefinitely suspend him, and he was released 5 days later. Public and media reaction was mixed as some sympathized with his undisclosed personal struggles, while others criticized his unprofessional exit. The NFL and Jets distanced themselves, and Patterson never returned to the league. Post-NFL, Patterson has maintained a low profile, with no public statements or known pursuits in football or media. At 41, any comeback is highly unlikely, leaving his career as an example of unrealized potential. Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon, a talented wide receiver from the Cleveland Browns, entered the NFL through the 2012 supplemental draft after being suspended in college for marijuana use. His raw athleticism quickly stood out, and he posted 87 receptions for 1,646 yards and 9 touchdowns in 2013. In 2014, however, he was suspended for the entire season due to his addiction, and further violations followed in 2015 and 2016. Despite reinstatements, Gordon never regained consistent footing in the league. He returned briefly in 2017, then was traded to the New England Patriots in 2018 before getting another suspension in late 2018. He was reinstated again in 2019, playing for both the Patriots and Seattle Seahawks, but yet another violation in December of that year resulted in an indefinite suspension. Gordon lost millions in salary and endorsement opportunities and missed the prime years of what could have been a Hall of Fame career. The cycle of suspensions not only impacted his income, but also eroded trust from teams across the league.